So hi there, Sender Wayfinder here in London, and welcome to the Karmic Creation Workshop and Manual. What I want to do here is just quickly go over the purpose of the self-assessment and grounding materials. So the big idea of the self-assessment is that getting a clear picture of what is, of your current reality, is vital when you're getting ready to create something new in your life. The problem is it's often very difficult to get a full picture because our tendency is to deny the discomfort we're in, to ignore the things that we don't want to see or deal with, or we minimize our pain. So the purpose of this self-assessment is there are a series of questionnaires and self-reflection exercises that are all designed to pull out and to organize different information from different areas of your life. What you'll be doing is going through the manual and filling out each exercise, following the instructions, which are in italics at the top of each page. And then once you've done that, once you've completed everything, just put it away for 24 hours or so, and then go through it again and underline the things that jump out at you. And then you can, upload it or share the document back to me prior to either our one-to-one session or if you're coming to a group session. So now what I'd like to do is share my screen of the manual and walk you through it. So as I said, here's the Karmic Creation Manual. And it's a Google Doc, so definitely go ahead and go up to the file here and make a copy of it in your own Google Docs portal. So make the copy and then start to work on it. So front page, this is the self-assessment. Now we're going to be working with a couple of things to remember. First is the 3 levels of being. That you exist as your lower self. This is your everyday self, the egoic structure, the reactive orientation that I think of as being a little bit like a land turtle. And we'll get to that in a moment. Then above that is your creator self. This is your visionary self, your heart-centered, creative orientation. It's your sea turtle. And then above everything is our higher selves, your higher self, which is beyond time and space and connected to all things. And this is more like a bird. And the karmic creation is almost like a miniature version of the hero's journey. The hero's journey is where, a limitless, eternal soul, you are born into a body, childhood, life experience. And with that comes challenges and struggles, insults and obstacles, pain and pleasure. And in reaction to those experiences, you're going to develop an egoic structure, a personality, a set of defenses, rules, and assumptions about how the world works. But this is not who you really are. It's just the structure that we all need to function here on the human, as a human. But in our hero's journey, there's always some sort of a call, an awakening, or an opening up, which typically we refuse at first. And then the call gets louder and stronger. And eventually, the hero has to leave home. They have to leave their comfort zone. This is where they typically find the wise figure, the helper, the guide, the wizard, the fairy godmother. And they go on a quest where they have adventures, trials, and discoveries. And on that quest, they receive gifts and treasures. They discover who they really are and what their life is really about. And then they return to their life, to their everyday life, with these gifts, with this true identity. And this is, where Cinderella lives happily ever after. Now, the big idea here is that we're going from island A to island B. Island A is your life as it is now. It's as big or as small as your circumstances, choices, and past experiences have created. And you live on this island as your lower egoic reactive self. This is where you're like the land turtle. You're protected by this shell of egoic structure, beliefs, and personalities, which were all necessary. And, it's all that you know how to do at this point. But it's not all that you are, not really. Now, Island B is your life as it could be, as you'd like it to be. Maybe it's because of an inner calling. There's got to be more life to life than this. Maybe it's because of a reaction. I can't take any more of this. Or maybe it's because of a vision. I want this. So no matter what your motivation is, you try to leave Island A and get to Island B. And that's when you discover that land turtles can't swim. Your shell, which is what gets you around the island, sinks like a stone in the water. So even though you might have heard of Island B from other people, or you've had a vision of it when you were connected to your higher self, the bird, your limitless self that you find in meditation, other spiritual practices. But you can't get there in your current form, your current identity, or your current orientation. So what do? You need to step into your creator self to unlock your visionary, heart-centered potential and being. And in this way, the land turtle becomes a sea turtle. And you're then free to swim in the seas of consciousness and life that surround and connect all of these islands. So that's what the Karmic Creation Day is all about, taking this first step on your discovery, on your journey to discovering what your Island B really is and setting off for it. So the first step is just to take an assessment of where you are now. So, look at the major areas of your life, score them from 1 to 10, and then score, where you'd like them to be in 12 months and subtract the one from the other to get the difference. So pause the video and do that now. And then we're going into career, heaven, or hell. Choose the answers closest to how you feel most of the time at work, and then write the scores up. Depending on your score, your job could be passionate play, the top 10%, life is good, the almost top 20%, 9 to 5, the middle 30%, great escape, the lower 20%, or living hell, the bottom 10%. This is based on the Rockboard Institute's research into levels of satisfaction and the impact of job quality, alignment with your skills, your talents, your values, and how it impacts your health, your longevity, your well-being. So go ahead and pause the video and do that. Next, we have the workplace toxicity score. And again, just how many of these things regularly happen at your workplace? Because when I surveyed almost 800 people, ranking them on these different levels, and there's a huge gap between the sort of good jobs, passion to play, life is good, and the ones below that, where the top level jobs, 75 to 61% of the people report none of these toxic behaviors, whereas in the lowest jobs, only 1 to 4% have toxic-free workplaces. So just go ahead and score your workplace. Pause the video while you do that. The next step is looking at your fundamental emotional needs. How are you doing? So, we're born with a set of physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. When they're met in harmony and balance, you can't help but thrive. It's how we've evolved. You're like a plant in the right spot. But if even one of them the essential needs is not met, it'll cause stress and dysfunction. And the more of them that are not met, the more stressed you are. So just circle which is truest in the last month or so for each category and score them up, and then see what impact your essential needs are having on your life. So go ahead and pause while you do that. Next is the ACEs score, which is looking at adverse childhood experiences in your upbringing, in your growing up. And this is just looking at the major stressors on children that research has shown have a long-term impact on health and longevity. So just put a 1 in the box for everything that you did experience and get your total score. Now, they're much, much more common than we realize, and they do have, a 7 to 30% higher rates of problems like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, suicide, alcoholism, or drug abuse, strokes, or early death. But it's not inevitable. My mother, my girlfriend, and I all had 6 or 7 ACEs in our respective childhoods, but there are protective factors that can counterbalance that. So, because we had different levels of help and support growing up and as adults, our health and our outcomes were very different. My mother died of cancer at 62. My girlfriend died of cancer at 54. And I am, fingers crossed, reasonably healthy still at, 62 now. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. And then finally, these are the longer, more reflective exercises. And they're just a series of, look at your ideal job and career discovery and, answer questions, situation now, island A, what are things like in your life now? Then we have things that you've already tried, what you're beginning to suspect. Then there's looking at stressful thoughts, delete all but the top 5. Then we have what's your vibe, the inner things that you most value, what you're fascinated with, politics, your stage of life, the scenes, just getting helping you concretize who you are and what you're about. Your home, things you can imagine seeing in it, the vibe, the feeling, the qualities of things. And then what's your who? Jobs, businesses, workplaces, they come down to the people you're working with and the people you're working for or serving. So who are these people for you? Then in terms of your desires, your island B, what you really want, again, just go through the questions. And with all of these, this is very impressionistic and feeling based. So, sometimes things come and just let them flow. And if nothing comes, just keep moving. And then finally, the long view. Imagine that you're 90 years old looking back at what you've created, contributed, and cared for. Despite the many trials and hardships you faced, you've managed to stay true to yourself. You're proud and very grateful for all that you've experienced and have complete compassion towards your present day self. What would you regret not doing if you don't do it now? And then write that down. And then, as I said, I've sent you the Land of Plenty meditations and training. So you've got the Connect to Your Heart meditations. Practice them and find the one that you like the most. And also follow the instructions to do the Land of Plenty meditation. And then, as I said, the next step is to put all of this away for 24 hours, read it over and underline what's jumping out at you, and then upload and share it with me before our one-to-one or our group meeting. Okay? So super excited and looking forward to not only what you discover, but what we're going to unlock and create on the day. Bye.